While to some it may feel like we're back to normal, it would be a shame if we found ourselves in the same spot we began after living through such a turbulent time of innovation. We must not be so eager to forget about the COVID-19 pandemic that we fail to process the moments of magic that grew out of the turmoil. The landscape of learning evolved at supernatural speed. While educators were busy recovering from whiplash, the future arrived. Companies poured millions of dollars into expediting immersive technology to create a new reality. Hired.com called 2020 the year of augmented and virtual reality when they reported a 1,400% increase in AR/VR engineering job openings. In 2022, the edtech company Labster raised $47 million to build an Eduverse. Then, Meta announced a $150 million immersive learning project. The money is going to help 10 universities open their own metaverse campuses equipped with Meta Quest VR headsets for students. Educators are now on a fast track to adopt higher quality technology that was too cost prohibitive to even imagine before the pandemic. We are perhaps finally about to enter the coming of age that instructional technologists have been waiting for. Massive investments in immersive virtual learning have not only been coming from the Zuckerbergs of the world. Investment in time, money, and effort happened on the front lines of education. As an educator, I was aware of how dramatically my teaching changed because of the pandemic, so I wanted to find out how others were using technology to create interactive digital communities as our world embraces virtual experiences. The purpose of this research was to understand how educators innovated during the pandemic and to share their successes. This paper outlines different tools educators used in their university courses and what they learned about engaging students online. I hope to encourage more collaboration as we explore emerging technology that can bring learning to life. The questions guiding my research were, what are some of the challenges that educators faced when designing and teaching online courses? What are some of the innovative, disruptive solutions educators created or discovered that helped them overcome challenges associated with designing and teaching online courses? How have educators embraced emerging technology to increase engagement and promote social learning in online courses? Prior to the pandemic, the U.S. Department of Education reported that 1/3 of American college students had taken online courses. The number of undergraduates exclusively enrolled in distance education courses grew from 2.4 million in 2019 to 7 million just 1 year later. This created challenges for educators who tried to battle the negative impacts emergency remote learning had on student engagement and mental well-being. Researchers found the abrupt transition from in-person to online courses increased student anxiety and decreased motivation. Students lost peer communication networks. The psychological toll of isolation, loss, and financial burden wasn't only felt by students. While some educators were prepared to teach online, most felt they had insufficient bandwidth and preparation to transition in-person courses to online courses. Strategic online course development was found to be significantly different from courses offered online in response to the COVID-19 crisis. Campus support and instructional design teams were not staffed sufficiently to suddenly assist every educator with unique obstacles related to class size and subject matter. Educators struggled to engage students who became increasingly hard to reach. A survey of nearly 3,000 undergraduates from 30 American universities found access to adequate technology was a major barrier for student success in online classes. Researchers pushed for more nuanced measurements to better understand digital inequality students experienced. While previous studies found that most American students had access to a computer, Katz et al. Found that the pandemic revealed a detrimental number of students were underconnected. In their survey, students reported unreliable or slow internet access and digital devices that were insufficient for the needs of full-time online education. Some students reported needing to share devices with family members because they lost access to on-campus technology they relied on before the pandemic. In addition to dealing with new obstacles created by the pandemic, remote classes amplified challenges educators already faced adapting to new technology like lack of resources, training, and time. Some universities are leading the way in acceptance of new education technology and crediting the pandemic with fueling their innovative initiatives. In November 2021, Stanford University published an article describing the Virtual People course, which they claim is among the first and largest courses to be taught almost entirely in virtual reality. Some researchers found that virtual gamified training platforms expanded during the pandemic and created an opportunity for the development of new learning experiences that promoted higher order thinking. Because I wanted to understand what impacts an educator's decision to embrace new learning technologies, my research was informed by TAM. Under TAM, perceived usefulness and perceived ease of use are crucial factors in adoption of new technology. I started my qualitative study by reaching out to educators and instructional designers at the University of South Florida. I interviewed 2 professors, 4 instructors, and 5 instructional designers via Zoom. The following findings are organized by the tools educators adopted and how they perceived these tools improved student engagement and motivation. Let's start with one of the most innovative professors I interviewed and the tool he used, Roblox. Before the pandemic, this professor taught climate change and sustainability in person. When COVID-19 forced him to move his classes online, he used the Roblox game to digitally recreate his classroom to give students a sense of normalcy. He soon realized that if I could take the students anywhere, why would we go back to the classroom? Instead of teaching students with PowerPoint decks, he turned his slides into digital billboards in the Roblox world. Student avatars rode together in a cart on a rail and virtually passed the digital billboards. Shortly after launching the digital billboard tour, he asked, "Why are we walking around in this virtual world when we can fly?" He geocoded a map and let student avatars fly. He offered his students a fun way to socialize and create community, which he believes was a key reason for his tool's success. Flipside is another innovative tool that one of the educators we interviewed used to engage students in virtual production. Flipside says it's the world's first virtual TV studio for live, real-time motion capture of animated content. It allows creators to customize animated 3D characters and their environment. While Flipside Studio lets users create and voice simple animations, its extended reality, VR, and AR tools are expansive. It can use data from full bodysuits to track real movement that appears in 360-degree environments as animated characters. A professor we spoke with used Flipside to create animated videos for his online course. He voiced animated characters to make the course more fun and add instructor presence. The videos introduced the course materials and helped students understand what's expected of them. One professor used Plotagon so students could create a virtual world together to learn applied research. Plotagon is a mobile and desktop app that turns text into video. The user interface lets students customize the way characters look and what they wear. Students wrote scripts and narrated character dialogue. Then they assigned movements to the characters that they selected from a bank of animations. Students had the choice of narrating the character script themselves, or Plotagon can automate text-to-speech. The professor said that students felt engaged and motivated when they were empowered to create their own learning content in a creative way. Instructional designers I spoke with used 360-degree cameras to shoot videos and photos that students could view on a desktop, a mobile device, or in a mobile VR headset. For a death and dying course, USF digital learning videographers created a virtual reality tour of a cemetery at the height of the pandemic using a 360-degree camera. Students learning from home could wear a mobile VR headset and turn their heads around for a personal and intimate point of view that made them feel like they were standing in the middle of the cemetery. It was no surprise that everyone I interviewed talked about video conferencing tools. Zoom went from 10 million to 300 million daily meetings in the first 4 months of 2020. Microsoft Teams usage grew by 894% from February to June of 2020. In an attempt to increase engagement between students, one professor we interviewed used the social annotation tool Perusal in the learning management system Canvas. He uploaded readings and videos into Perusal, where students wrote comments and took notes. He felt like it was a more authentic form of communication than traditional threaded discussions. It also offered a form of automated grading where student comments can get more points when they're upvoted. The Canvas Learning Management System, or LMS, was seen both as a challenge and a solution to teaching online. Canvas was, without a doubt, the most frequently talked about tool that every instructional designer and educator brought up during the interviews. Generally, instructional designers spoke more favorably about Canvas than educators. This appeared to be tied to familiarity with LMS and department training and support, or lack thereof. Instructional designers saw Canvas as an integral part of their jobs. They were trained more thoroughly on Canvas and were more aware of the options unknown to most educators. One solution that was mentioned by several instructional designers was templates. Instructional designers created more classes than most instructors and professors, so templates were especially useful at increasing efficiency. Instructional designers use and create templates that they share in the Canvas Commons section for anyone at their institution to download. The challenge with this solution is that not many people outside of the instructional design team seem to be aware that these templates existed. While templates in Canvas save time, they also provided another solution that became a common theme in interviews. Templates provided consistent visual design. Visual design isn't only aesthetically appealing. Several instructional designers pointed out that consistent placement of content and resources in an LMS helps students reduce cognitive load that hopefully result in improved learning and less frustration. Several of the instructional designers I interviewed said the media hosting platform Kaltura can be a great tool to get those in-depth analytics that educators can use to fine-tune their decisions. Kaltura can be integrated into an LMS like Canvas, which makes assessments more efficient. Educators or instructional designers can embed checkpoints during videos that ask students to answer questions or reflect on what they're watching before they can watch the rest of the video. Student answers can go directly into the Canvas gradebook. This type of assessment can be more interactive and engaging than traditional quizzes. It also keeps students accountable to watch course videos. Educators can also see exactly when a student stopped watching. Identifying patterns in student viewing habits can inform how long videos should last. Articulate 360 also offers more options for educators to incorporate frequent assessment in creative ways that aren't always available directly in an LMS. Instructional designers we spoke with use Storyline 360, but some also use Rise 360. Storyline 360 is an e-learning authoring tool that resembles PowerPoint. One of the use cases I encountered during my interviews was for a geosciences course. The digital learning group teamed up with a professor to take online students on a trip down a river. They used drone cameras to capture the trip from above. Videographers kayaked along the professor as he spoke to the camera from the middle of the river. They also used waterproof cameras to immerse students in the environment. The point of the lesson was to teach students about how the water and environment changed as the river flowed south. The video team edited short videos at several stops along the river. Then the instructional design team created a map of the river and embedded it into a Canvas course. Students could click on hotspots along the river to watch videos. While students may have enjoyed kayaking down the river in person, it would have been harder to hear what the professor was saying. With high-quality video cameras and microphones, the videos of the professor may have led to greater learning for students.